turn this off. There we go. Alright, I'm going to give it a little bit for people to show up, for it to start getting sent out to people, because I want this stream to reach as many people as possible. Is my music going? My music is not going, so I'm going to fix that. I need this music to get fixed. I need this music to get fixed. Cool, there we go. Now that the music's set up, I actually set up a lot of this yesterday. I worked very hard on all of this. The goal for this stream is to explain my neurological disorder, because there's not too much known about it. It is called functional neurological disorder, or FND for short. What it does is it tampers with the way a brain connects. Oh my goodness. It tampers with the way a brain connects to your body. And as such, it causes a myriad of issues. It is very uncommon. It is considered a rare disorder, a rare disease, and it can do a lot to people. It's not fatal. It just greatly impacts quality of life, and it can show up at any point. I have had it for over a year and 4 months, and most of the time this has not affected my streams or anything of the sort. But one of my goals for this channel is to spread awareness for this, because it's uncommon and a lot of doctors don't even know about it. Hello, In Fear, welcome. I'm trying to explain my neurological disorder to people, because yesterday when I started stuttering on every single word, people thought I was faking it for views, which I would never do that. And if I wanted views, worst part of having this, I'm about to explain so much with Redstone. Thank you for tuning in and not swiping away. One of the first things that comes with FND is functional seizures. These are non-epileptic seizures, but are still debilitating. These can look like any form of seizures. They can look like a stroke where you lose half your body. They can look like a grand mal seizure. They can look like an absence seizure. They can look like, I don't even remember what the other types are. but they can look like any type of epileptic seizure. I am completely serious. If you search up FND Hope, it is a charity about this. One sec. That would be my little crybaby whiner dog. People do that. I don't know which part you're at because stream delay, but I have this. I've had it for over a year now, and it actually changed the course of my life in a couple ways. But functional seizures, a good way that I've set this up is it essentially your body sends a bunch of signals that you're not sending. So my eyes can see, but they're not connected to my brain, and my body can feel, but that input's not going to my brain. So it gets dark and it gets quiet, and on the other side people see me flailing around, or well, it looks exactly like what people think a seizure would. I used to have hundreds of these per day. Hundreds. No warning. Oh yeah. That's actually one of the things, is because it sits directly in the balance of neurology and psychology. It is not a fictitious disease, meaning I am not controlling it. Oh, it feels like it sometimes. I have so much, I haven't even explained it. I have all that other redstone to explain it. And I wanted to do this because yesterday when I started stuttering really, really badly, I'll insert a clip in post, people were like, wow, he's faking this for views. That's terrible. No. In this, imagine this is your brain and this is your body. A snowball is an input from your brain to your body. The signal gets sent. That's your body when it works. My body is like that right now. It works like that sometimes. Most of the time now, blessedly. Oh, anyways, I forgot to say. Now, a link to this world. Sure. I'd have to do that in post. I haven't... I wanted to cite my sources and all that, but I figure I'd reach more people by streaming. So I'm going to make a video on this. Now, I can go sometimes 3 or 4 days without having one of these, and I will know for about a minute beforehand. So I've started kind of getting my life back, and it's taken a year and 4 months. But there's that. And then if we go back over here, this represents your brain, your body, and a snowball is a signal from your brain to your body. The signal works. This is functional weakness, which is essentially, instead of a consistent signal being sent, it barely goes. Can you know the name of the disorder? It is called functional neurological disorder. It tampers with the way the brain connects to your body. I highly recommend FND Hope. They're a good source. They're a charity for it. It affects between 7 and 22 people per 100,000 people. It is considered a rare disease. So functional weakness, it's like if you try to walk, the signal's there sometimes, but it's not there nearly as consistently as it is this time when your body's doing well. So this can make it really hard to walk. It can make it really hard to do pretty much everything. This represents involuntary movement. I have a lot of funny examples of this where, well, actually it kind of really sucks and is not funny, but looking back on it, it is, where I would be sitting watching TV and all of a sudden my arm would just go up in the air. That would not be me doing that. That would be my brain getting stuck when I sent a signal and sending the signal once my brain has stopped doing it. Named and noted. Thank you, Infear. The fact that you've even commented that gives me hope, because I just want to share awareness for this, because it sucks. And just because most people don't have a likelihood of it doesn't mean it shouldn't be known. So involuntary movement is essentially when the signal sends, but then it keeps sending. It gets stuck. So like if I moved my arm and then my arm just started going in the air. One time I threw the idea for Streamlag. Yes, I do have Stream open on my phone. I'm going to break that for lag. You want to learn? Yes, exactly. Thank you, Infear. Because most people are just... A lot of people, if you Google the definition of fictitious, it means self-inflicted. Essentially. FND is not fictitious. There are so many times that I've thought, oh, there's no... I'm just making it up. I'm crazy. Of the dozens of doctors that I have seen, it is not a fictitious disease. It is even proven by several medical writings and all of this. It is not fictitious, so you're not doing it to yourself. And then, another one of these is paralysis. Yay! Not yay. Brain, body, signal gets sent. Oh wait, the signal's not sending. This is another thing that can happen with this, where your brain essentially stops sending the signals. The signals don't get to the rest of your body. I've had many times where I can only move my eyes. Can't talk, can't walk, can't move my arms. Only my eyes. Another one of these is partial paralysis. Yay. The arms light up. The arms can get the signal, but the legs can't. I've had a lot of times over the past year that I've needed to use a wheelchair because the legs just don't get the signal no matter how hard I try. There's been another time where there's partial paralysis, but in the other way. I'll have days where one of my arms just won't work. One of my arms just won't work. Sometimes my left, sometimes my right, doesn't matter. But all of this different stuff can happen multiple times. I could be walking and 30 seconds later, I could be working like this perfectly. Everything, all the signals send, or the next minute it could be like this, where it's hard to walk and I can barely stand. Or where the signals get stuck. Or where I can't move at all. It changes so much. And it can also change to where days. Oh, you're gonna be shocked by the next part. It can also change after a functional seizure. So I have one of these. Not for total paralysis. That's usually an hour or two for me, but it can be anywhere from a few minutes to several hours. It gets really boring when you can't move. No one talks about that part. But the legs I've had gone for a few days before. I think the longest it was a month. And then the arms, I've had an arm go out for a day or two. And any of these could happen at any point, but they can also happen after a functional seizure. My longest functional seizure was, I believe, over 30 minutes long of muscle spasming and me not being conscious. And the shortest is probably a few seconds. And again, these can range from silent seizures, like absent seizures where it's just staring, to grand mal, clonic tonic, the whole muscle spasming and almost breaking your nose and all that fun stuff, biting your tongue. And then, but wait, there's more. If this symbolizes your brain, kind of like it did over there, and this symbolizes your mouth, you send the signal and it works. Nice, right? It's great when your words work. This is what it's like when it's stuttering with this, because the signal becomes inconsistent and it sends multiple times instead of consistently. Which is why I can go from being fine in 1 second, like I did yesterday on stream, to stuttering like this. Notice I'm talking well today. So this is my brain right now. Blessedly, thankfully. And this is my body right now. Blessedly, thankfully. Oh, I forgot about the other part too. You know, wait, where is it? This one, ignore this sign. Partial paralysis, right? Imagine this is feeling. I have not felt my legs. I've felt my legs for probably 3 days in the past 9 months because the signal from my legs isn't going back to my brain. And that's another crazy thing that can happen. Okay, so if we go back to over here, this is functional aphasia. Aphasia is when people are completely unable to speak. This happens after strokes and epileptic seizures and a lot of other things. So, there have been times where I have not been able to talk at all. The signal just doesn't even send. And I can move my mouth, but no words come out, and I can't access my vocal cords. That is especially frustrating. Another thing that can occur is, wait, where is it? This one over here. A full video on this? Yes, I'm actually going to turn most of this into a full video, and I'm going to cite my sources, and I'm going to have links in the description. I have 3 goals for this Minecraft channel. Wait, you should look at me while I say this. I have 3 goals for this channel. I want to share the love of Jesus. I want to spread awareness for functional neurological disorder, and I want to share the enjoyment of Minecraft. Those are my goals. I want my personal experience. Yeah. It's a lot, and the thing is, it varies so much, and there's not a medicine that fixes it all. There are medicines that can help, medicines that expand neuroplasticity, which is essentially how your brain connects. And then, other than that, there's no, oh, it's just gone. I have been to physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, CBT, what are the other ones? DBT. There's so many different therapies, ACT, and sometimes it works for people and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes people get their functional seizures gone, and there's no more this. Which I feel like I'm getting closer to every... Oh, I forgot to explain this. Are any of you familiar... Is anyone in the crowd familiar with what fibromyalgia is? Essentially, it's when your brain sends pain signals that are not there. So if this was your brain, as indicated by said sign, if this was your brain, and it sends a pain signal. You step on a sticker, a thorn, you have a headache, a stomach ache, whatever. It gets stuck, and the pain signal just keeps sending and keeps sending when nothing's happening to you that causes pain. This can be called as fibromyalgia, or it can be called complex regional pain syndrome, where your brain just keeps sending the pain signal when it's not necessary, until it somehow stops. This has happened to me in a couple different ways, mainly constant. It's not exact. It's less than a migraine, but more than a normal headache. Constant sharp agony in my brain. So there's that too. Or it can just stop sending the signals. So if this is my brain, and actually no, I'm gonna flip this around. If this is my lower body, it's like if there was a repeater going the wrong way, and if this was my brain. So every time my lower body sends a signal, it doesn't go. And that's why I don't feel my legs right now. I probably will someday. I have hope for that. But there's so many different ways that this can affect a person, and it can be truly terrible. It's not fatal. It just greatly decreases the quality of someone's life, and they have to learn how to live around it. It rests perfectly in the balance. It is almost as if this was neurology. I feel like I spelled that wrong. I'm spacing it out. And we go just a few blocks over here, and we have well, let's imagine I spelled that right. If we have both of these different things and it's going to be off, it hangs and it dangles in the balance. Which is why it's so hard to be treated, to be diagnosed, or to be understood. Because people say, oh, it's all in your head, it's fictitious. Or, oh, you have something wrong in your brain. Well, I'm not making it up. It's not physically there. Yet at the same time, it physically affects me. And it mentally affects me. Aspects like... what is it? I'm spacing it out. Stress and anxiety can affect this and make this worse. So then, okay, it tugs it over here. Or when you realize it physically affects me. Okay, well, then it just tugs it over here. It's simple then. Hello, Galaxy. When in reality, it rests perfectly in the balance of the two, creating the difficulty and the, well, creates a lot of terrible things for people. But in a nutshell, oh, there's so much more to explain too. I'm even missing half of it. Highly recommend going to FND Hope. It is a charity based around this. Once I get monetized, I will be running a fundraiser for this to share with other people. And that is what I wanted to explain. This is all a really long way of explaining that I stutter sometimes, and other times I can't talk at all. And sometimes my legs don't work. And sometimes I have seizures. But knowing the difference and that it can change in 30 seconds, I could go from being perfectly fine and all my signals send to a stuttering mess that stutters on every single word instead of having consistent speech or not being able to talk. Or my arm getting stuck in the air when I'm not telling it to do that. I will have a long form video coming out on this explaining more about FND. I feel like Redstone is a great way to explain this. And now I'm going to end stream and go play some Pillars of Fortune and pick a lighter topic. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Have a blessed day or night depending on where you are, and I'll catch you in the next one. God bless. Bye there.